Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, we're going to go over the winning photos of the Hasselblad Masters competition for 2021. These are the photos that Swedish camera maker Hasselblad has deemed some of the best photos of the year. Hasselblad is Swedish, right? I think they're Swedish. Hasselblad. Swedish! Okay, so for those of you not familiar with this competition, it's a biannual competition happening once every 2 years, held internally by the Swedish camera manufacturer Hasselblad, who are known for some incredible medium format cameras. A lot of pro photographers use their stuff. Therefore, a lot of great photos end up on a Hasselblad system or go through the Hasselblad ecosystem. So they are primed to judge some of the best photos that come in via this program. So the rules of the competition are very simple. There's 3 main rules. The Hasselblad Masters competition is open to all photographers who have been active professionals for more than 3 years. Rule number 2, no employee of Hasselblad is allowed in the competition. And number 3, all submitted photos have to be of a 16 megapixel count or higher. That seems pretty low compared to some of the crazy cameras that Hasselblad makes. Let me just take a look. Largest megapixel Hasselblad camera. Google is telling me Hasselblad makes a 400 megapixel camera. Not everyone's going to shoot with that, but it should be pretty easy to get out over 16. So we're going to be going over these 12 categories of aerial, art, landscape, wedding, portrait, beauty fashion, product, architecture, wildlife, Project 21/amateur division, street urban, and heritage, which is a new one for 2021, and I'll go into that when we get into that category. Lastly, this isn't a one photograph wins it all competition. You actually have to submit 3 photographs per category. They don't have to be in a collection, and they don't even have to be related to each other, but it just has to show a certain amount of consistency in your work. And without further ado, let's get into the first category. First category is aerial photography. This is a category of photography that has often been abstract to me. I'm not well versed in aerial photography, but you can do some amazing things just by getting a different perspective with your camera. Jesus. And already I'm seeing these photos, these 3 photos, and I'm like, this is stunning. So the winner in the aerial category this year is Florian Ledeaux, and wow, I mean, incredible composition. You can see, obviously, it's an Arctic or subarctic theme. So in the first one, we have, I want to say an arrow-shaped island with a bunch of, oh, I hope those seals are alive. I don't know if those seals are alive. We're just gonna say they're alive. Incredible photo. Obviously, center composition, you have like a nice, it's like a physical vignette of all the broken down rocks, and then you have the seals who are almost making an arrow in themselves on top of this lone ice rock in the middle of where this was taken. Next one is adorable. It's an image of a polar bear bridging the gap between 2 icy, I want to say like floating ice masses. I don't know how long he would have had to wait for this photo. This one looks a lot closer to the ground than the other ones, like maybe he was flying low or he had a lower vantage point. One thing that's really interesting with these photos is they are all taken straight. They appear to be all taken straight down, like at a 90-degree angle, which really gives it like a dramatic feel. We're going to see in this third photo, when you zoom out, when you go really far, that you can get a lot of perspective with these 90-degree shots. And yeah, this second photo is very tranquil. I really like the smooth edges around the ice blocks, and then the polar bear, once again, center composition right in the middle of the frame, and there's even action, there's movement, which gives a little more energy to what is a more minimalist photo at the end of the day. Next one we have is stunning perspective, honestly, and for the life of me, I can't actually tell if this is a crazy wide shot where the camera's really up high, or if this is more of a macro shot. For me, it could be either. Showing off some of the stunning pattern work in nature, just designs that are just created by the elements, by the environment. You see all these broken out ice blocks going from large on the left to small on the right. This is an incredible pattern work. There's a natural flow to what I'm seeing. It takes the eye for me, it goes big to small. Another one of those arrow-like compositions where you're traveling through the frame. We haven't really talked about color theory, but everything here is beautifully blue, beautifully teal and aquamarine. The only exception being that the bear in the center photo, the bear in the middle photo, that white, that stark white and even a bit of yellow, really makes it pop. These are incredible photos. I have seen elements of these in previous winners before. I'll tell you what, that seal photo, it really catches me. There's a story there. It's really telling me something. I think these are amazing photos, and well done to Mr. Ledeaux. So next we have the category of architecture by Albright Vos from Germany. And let's take a look. Cool. These are really stunning. The category of architecture can, in my opinion, really be a lot of things. You can go for older style architecture, something more retrospective, looking back, or, and this is what a lot of people, I think, for this category tend to gravitate to, is futurism, an architecture that is something inspiring that maybe we haven't seen before. And I'll tell you, with these photos, I haven't seen this before. So I'm looking at the first image right now, and I don't even know what this is. I mean, it's very nice looking. It looks like an alien planet, and that's obviously the vibe he's going. You have the incredible starry sky, telling me that this was either a composite photo or maybe a photo that was just taken at a very, very slow shutter speed, and it's actually a lot darker in those buildings than the photo tells. But you have incredible dynamic range here, going from the sky, which either is being lit up like crazy under those stars, or it's completely black, and he had to wait there a very long time. This series of photos just stuns me, how photos can be taken all over the planet and not look like our planet. Like this looks like the latest Netflix sci-fi movie. But we have two shelters. One's kind of looking like a little spaceship outcropping, kind of as a balcony on it, and the other one, it's a little more chaotic in there. I can't really tell. It looks like maybe some stuff's been thrown around. With this one, it really is the bottom type composition. You have a ton of negative space on the top, which is to the benefit of the beauty of the sky coming in. I like this photo. I think there are stronger ones in the bunch, and we're gonna go look at that one, especially with this one coming up, the second one. This is absolutely stunning. As my computer tries to load in all of these stars, you get a real sense of largeness and scale and importance with this one. This is a very similar looking structure, lots of hard edges, all the symbols of modernist architecture, concrete design and glass, and again a lot of negative space up at the top with the stars, kind of emphasizing the importance of this structure. It's over the ground, it's amongst this big dramatic skyline, and this looks like 2001: A Space Odyssey. This looks like something that we were promised we'd all be living in by the age of flying cars and whatnot. It looks very whimsical as to what's holding it up. Like, it doesn't look like it should be leaning like that, but it is. This is an incredible photo. I have no idea where he would have taken this. He must have some access to some really cool either developmental buildings. Finally, we have something a little bit more whimsical in terms of its space-like design. So we have the same sharp edge concrete. This one's a cubic building instead of the more triangle trapezoid-esque buildings before. Tons of negative space on the top. This is definitely a collection or a series. And this one I really like because it has the outline of a person and they are glowing. And I don't know how that effect was achieved. It appears on the photo that there is just a glowing person. It could insinuate that there's a person-sized hole inside the cube, and the contents of the cube are actually what's glowing. This could be any form of camera trickery. I don't know how much post-production is typically used in these images. They all so far appear very naturalistic, but a lot more detail on the ground. This one you can see is isolated in some sort of valley with mountains going up the side. Incredible photos, and respectable attention to minimalism and dynamic range. Captured a lot of different tonalities from incredibly bright to incredibly dark, and there's nothing to distract you away from the image's focuses. These are razor focused, much like he would have been when he was taking these photos. These are awesome. The next category we have here is the art category, and I am very excited about this category because this is typically where things start to get wild. The first two categories are very real, and the art category is much more subjective and much more open to flair, is what I'll say. So I'm very excited about this one. We have winner Gavin Goodman from South Africa, and oh my god, these photos are stunning. Jesus. So far I'm seeing a pattern of photographers going for collection submissions as opposed to singulars or one-offs, and it is to the benefit of this one. This is absolutely stunning fashion photography, almost. We're not even at the beauty and fashion photography, and this is a winner for art, and it could easily be a contender for beauty and fashion, I think. So we'll go into the first photo. Every one of these is themed with a colored background. It really just makes the center subject pop. We have a model modeling out, I don't know I don't know what this item is. It kind of looks like a fan or a lampshade. Obviously much more classy than that, but it's just clearly very well taken technically. Everything is razor sharp. And one thing I want to point out in these submissions is this type of photography also relies on an incredible skill with direction, especially if you're directing an actor or a model or something like that to achieve the image you're wanting to achieve. These poses were clearly picked very specifically to the benefit of each of the photos, and the composition is just wow. We go to the blue photo. We have a similar looking, I don't want to call it a clothing item because I think it really is an art statement piece. Centerist composition in this second one. We have the light coming, appears to be straight down on this figure or the backdrop, and a clear intent to never have the model looking at the camera. It's all about what the viewer feels as they're looking at this figure that's been supplemented by the use of these art pieces. And personally, I think this third photo is the absolute stunner. This one is absolutely awesome. I don't want to call it a hat, but this is the same figure on what appears to be a peach or a tan background with just an incredible headpiece that's kind of tilted off to the top. I can't really tell the direction of the light. It looks like a bit is falling on this model's back and then the top of their shoulder, but the intricate detail of the reds just pulls you right to the top, and it's absolutely stunning with the patterns and the fall off of the model going down, tapering off to the bottom. This could be on the billboard for any high fashion brand. I have no doubt that this person is on the payroll for potentially some high fashion brands. Next, we have beauty and fashion, and now I'm interested because I think we just kind of saw beauty and fashion to a certain extent. So let's see who got it for beauty and fashion this year. Wow. A complete tonal shift from art. Beauty and fashion employs a similar model-like pose setting, a little more cropped in. We can see faces this time, but this is flashy, cyberpunk-esque. Jesus, I'm trying to comprehend these. This is a tonal whiplash from the last one. Winner of this category is Ramon Vaquero, and this is also some incredibly beautiful photography. Let's go into the first one. I don't know how bold you have to be to use a solid yellow background on a fashion subject, but this is bold. And the blue lights, these are some really, really aggressive colors that if you don't know what you're doing, and this person knows what they're doing, if you don't know what you're doing, these are going to really hurt the eyes of your viewers and your audience. But fortunately, we're privy to an expert here. This person knows exactly what they're doing with these colors. So very traditional pose, I would say. The decision to keep the red lips, I want to see in the eyes in the composition. More of a neutral face. Very interesting, stylistically traditional while also having a lot of unique flair. And I would say the very interesting part, the part that we're going to gravitate to, is some of these, I don't want to call them effects, but maybe they're practical. I don't want to say, maybe they're just light projections onto the person. But we have these yellow or golden lines going across the neck. And this, I believe, could mean a lot of things. Fashion accessories, necklaces are all coming to mind. And the decision to make this a projection or maybe a non-physical flourish in the photography is definitely some sort of beauty, artistic statement. I don't quite understand it, but I will say that it is beautiful. Next, we have a much more confrontational photograph, and it's not mean or anything, but I am feeling challenged with this model looking directly at me. Yeah, I mean, very matter-of-fact statement. This is an image that will burn itself in your brain, but it's also beautiful, and it's got the lines that are just the leading lines bringing you into the model's face. Very, very symmetrical. We have a lacy type garment, which is weird because I would say the background is very futuristic, almost laser-like, and the garment being lacy and full of flourishes is kind of classical. So maybe this is a statement on the juxtaposition between these two directions of beauty, directions of fashion. Very nice photo, and again, the colors are just going everywhere with the greens and the blues. Finally, we have, I would say, not my favorite photo that we've seen so far. It kind of looks like some sort of lip gloss advertisement. Maybe that's what it was at the start, but I don't want to undercut it with just that commentary. This is a very technically well done photo. You can see razor sharp, and the skin coming off almost to silver. I don't know if that's a lighting decision or if that is actually practical makeup or paint. And bokeh balls everywhere. If you're a person who loves bokeh, this is the photo for you. Maybe this was taken at a 1.8 or 1.4 or 1.2 or 0.95 if these guys are really pushing it. A lot of stuff in focus, though. It's a really well done, almost macro level photo. The beauty of the mouth, the beauty of the chin, not over smooth. That's a problem that I have with a lot of beauty and in model photography. So you can see the nuances, the little crevices of the skin. Very well done, though. Very honest and a very beautiful fashion photo. Next, we have the category of landscape and nature. Winner of this category is HONGHUA. Let's get into it with some some, I guess, classical black, white, and sepia tones. This is really interesting. So traditionally, the landscape and nature section has had a lot of big, glorious colors and a lot of incredible detail when they take these large format cameras out and they take pictures of, like, I don't know, the Sierra or canyons and mountains and traditionally magnificent wonders of the world. This is definitely dialing it back a bit. Was this taken on film? Is this like, there's a ton of grain in the shots. I'm interested. These are way more different than I would have predicted for this category. Some incredible mountainscapes that are misty, or there's some sort of precipitation in the morning, and it's kind of just rolling off the hills, rolling off of these really extravagant trees, and it's creating, once again, almost like an alien type landscape. But the difference between something like this and something like the architectural photography that we started off at the top is the architectural photography really leans into the futuristic and the modernist views of how that stuff was taken. And this is almost old-fashioned. This is almost classical interpretation of some of the most beautiful landscapes. You see there's a beautiful little river or creek, and it kind of runs and goes over into a waterfall at the start. This is really nice stuff. It's whimsical, but it also is very classical. It's the kind of stuff that would look great when it's framed, look great in dynamic range and ink. Yeah, I'm really surprised by this one. I'm surprised that Hasselblad went in this direction this year. I'm definitely not disappointed. These are some incredible photos, and I'm really glad to have seen them. The winners of landscape and nature. Next, we have the winners of portraiture, and we've already seen some pretty good portrait-esque photos in the categories of art and beauty, but this is portraiture as an art form, as a camera form. And the winner of this category is MAREK from Slovakia, and let's take a look. This is like really... Okay, so what I'm seeing is potentially another collection of 3. These are some really stunning portraits of subjects that I wouldn't necessarily associate with the portraiture winner of this category. So they've assumed 3 children, and all the photos carry forward this same, it's not a pastel, but it's a very light, it's a very airy color science, color theme that brings a lot of pink out of their skin, brings a lot of detail out of their face, the freckles you'll see, and it's very non-intimidating, it's very non-intrusive, it's a very innocent style of photography, and it's also very trendy and modern, this color palette, with a lot of companies looking to be on the edge of this art form. So the first one, we have a child of a young age wearing what looks to be some type of helmet. And I don't know the story. I have a feeling there's a story behind these photos, either for a brand or for a photo story. So I'm going to be looking into that. But every photo taken with a razor's arrows frickin' thin aperture to where everything is blurred out except for the absolute face of your subject. And that's what we see here. The subject being very still for the photo, and everything just falls away. So you take a look at their eyes, and of course in their eyes you have a ton of detail, which is a key in a lot of traditional portraiture. So we go over the second photo, and perhaps a little bit bringing up that orange in the hair as a focal piece, as a focal point. For this photo, very simple, plain clothing. I don't know the reason behind the look. The look is a little apprehensive. It's a little maybe intimidated. I'm going to try and figure out the story behind these photos, but technically well done. Less fall off in terms of that aperture. This is traditional half body or 3/4 body portrait, and it looks really nice, even with the detail in the background with the light coming onto the wall. Final photo is of a young girl, of a blonde girl. And again, we have a deeper Again, we have a deeper depth of field. We can see a lot more of her shirt and kind of wrapping around. It's amazing that they're able to pull off this color pattern, like with the background, a different color than the... With the background, a very similar color to the shirt, yet they don't really blend into each other. We can see a lot of details of this young female figure. And again, with the expression, I don't quite understand it, but it's technically incredibly well done. It's definitely a lot more timeless than I would say a lot of the modern portrait trends, and I like it. It's just different enough for me. I don't know what it makes me feel, but it makes me feel happy and sad, and I don't know. Coffee break. Next category we have is product photography. This one's typically a mixed bag for me. You get a lot of product photographers submitting their work in this category, so it's a very competitive section of the competition. Winner of this category is Paul Fuentes from the United Kingdom, and let's take a look at his photos. Jeez. Okay, I like it. I'm trying. There's a message here. What is the message? I don't know what the message is, but let's get into the first photo. The first photo is a piece of cake that is also, what is that, an amethyst rock? Amethyst rock. Is it? Hell yeah, I know what an amethyst is. So the first photo is what appears to be some sort of purple filling jam piece of cake with some white icing, and on top you see an amethyst rock. Very, very unique. Obviously, this prop or this cake product that he has developed. And he takes a photo very traditionally, as you would take a photo of something posted to an online store or something. You just have a singular colored background. You blast everything with light. You get all the detail you can, and you kind of just have it floating there in the middle. So just right in the center, the light pink of the background really accenting the purple jam or the purple top that you're seeing with this amethyst. And that is the big draw for a photo like this, is the uniqueness of it. The thing that you look at and you say, you know, I know what that is, but also my mind is telling me I don't know what that is. These two things that are put together, and what's the message there? So, I mean, it could be commenting on something about how we value our junk food, we value our sweets, our impulsiveness, but just on the surface level, it's a beautiful image. Cake and diamonds, or cake and gemstones. Who wouldn't want that? The middle one, the Heinz ketchup one, we have, I'm getting soup can Andy Warhol vibes with this. We have the Heinz tomato ketchup, which has been broken on the ground, and when it was dropped, what did it leak? It didn't leak ketchup, well, it leaked rosebuds. Very beautiful, artfully done. I don't understand the message. I wish I was smarter. I don't understand the message of this, but I will say that it is beautiful. It's unexpected. It's shock value. It brings a certain amount of what exactly am I looking at, and you can tell that every petal and every piece of glass has been meticulously placed and crafted to get the maximum reaction from the viewer. Yellowish background. Perhaps it was a little too saturated with a red background, similar to how they did pink on pink in the last one. Very well done photo. I wish I understood the meaning. And finally, we have something that, I don't know, could be hanging off like a Gucci bag or something. It almost looks like a fashion accessory. And that is the gold chain pink Nutella on pink background. The thing that sticks out about this is the lock on the end. So that is definitely some sort of message saying that we're locking up our junk food. We're locking up, maybe we're trapped inside our necessity to eat foods that aren't good for us. I don't understand why the Nutella is pink. It looks really nice, but I don't get it. And yeah, this is one of those photos that is I don't want to downplay how hard it would be to take a photo. Obviously, it's technically well done. Every one of the settings on the camera are very, very accurately set. You see a lot of sharpness. The person knows exactly what they're doing in terms of the technical, but I would say a lot of the difficulty in taking these photos that they've demonstrated for us today is coming up with the ideas for these photos. That is a big part of the battle in winning, I guess, this year's product side, is finding these stimulating ideas and these compositions that you have to create yourself. You don't find this stuff. You have to develop this stuff. It's product side. And I don't know, pink Nutella, that could get popular. Maybe Nutella will pick up a pink side. Do they sell pink Nutella? He's got a style that you know what, I will say is all his own. And you know what? Sometimes that's the winning formula. Okay, so next we have Project 21. So this is Hasselblad's amateur category, open for non-professionals, photo assistants, under 21s, students, and this is a wild card, really. This is a wild card in the competition. You see a lot of different things creatively, but from what I've noticed in this category, the submissions coming up to it is that there's definitely not a drop in quality. Like you have a category that's meant to cater to the non-professionals who want to apply in this space. And then they submit work that could very well be right up there with the professionals. So I'm expecting nothing less than professional grade photography and really good ideas out of this category. So the winner of this category is Wai Chao Wang. And let's take a look. Ooh, whoa, my brain. Wow, these are really bendy and trippy. These look too smooth to be... Are these photos? Like... So right off the bat, these don't. This group of three does not actually strike me as real photographs. Like they honestly look like some sort of 3D rendering of a space or something. They look way too smooth, way too minimal. Like, wow, I don't know where this is, but these are just incredible. So this looks like environments that are just way too clean to be in the human world. Like you see the walls are completely unmarked. There are no mismatches, or all the edges are super clean. Whatever building this is just insane. And the lighting that he's able to control in this area, so to not only capture an incredibly clean environment and something that is geometrically satisfying, but the way that he's able to light it, where you also get this gradient fall off at the bottom and the top. It's almost like just I don't know what it's called when you have a vignette, but it's not the side, it's only the bottom and the top. It is kind of like a vignette, where you have this light and this dynamic range focal point in the middle, and then you have these different layers of each of the sections where you have a light and a dark and a light and a dark. It's like zebra type pattern, but it also looks almost digital. This is really kind of experimental stuff, and I like it. It's very interpretive. I would say the praise here is in lighting. Finding and capturing these images is one thing, but then being able to just control the fall-offs, harsh and subtle, is just a whole nother work. Like, this is incredible work. Just something completely out of left field for the Project 21 category, and I'm very happy I got to see something like this. This is really good. Next, we have my personal favorite category of all. It's the street urban category. As a amateur street photographer, I love the idea of capturing these candid moments of life as it goes by. And we're going to take a look at this category. So we have the winner here, Nicolae Shegeliv from Russia. And you get a lot of good stuff from Russia in the street photography and urban scene. So let's take a look at what we have here. I'm excited. Oh my God. And I am not disappointed. God, these are amazing. These are incredible. It's blowing my mind. Oh my God, these are so good. We'll get to the third photo. The third one's my favorite, but I hated it at the start, but then I came around to it. So let's get to this. The first photo, an incredible back and forth between the blue and the yellow light. I have no idea how you would capture this. If it's like some part of the day where you have a cold and the hot side, I don't know how you would do this. I don't think it's like a composed or a comped photo where he took two photos and then merged them together. It looks very fluid. And you just have the scene of potentially an early morning Russian train station, some sort of commuter type environment. You have people waiting around very candidly. And on one side, you have the brightness of the morning, the start to the day. And on the other side, you have a much more cold feel. You have the train kind of spewing some black into the situation. And perhaps these people are going home for the day. Just an incredible back and forth. I love the weight of this photograph. You have the train on the cold side, and there's just a lot more weight to that corner. And you also have just it's like a bleak and a hopeful side is what I'll call it. And the winter aspect of it just makes it all the more brutal and honest. It's a very well composed photo, very well done. And not even, what you'll notice is this photo isn't even from a bizarrely creative point of view. Like a lot of times for these street photos, the point of view is what makes the photo. You have something really low or high or off to the side, or you're capturing an angle of a person or group of people that is different than what you would normally see, and that's what makes an incredible photo. But with this one, it really is just eye level, which makes me think that this person has seen a view like this before, and it kind of ticked over in their mind that this is something worth capturing, and damn right it's worth capturing. This is an incredible photo. I love this one, and we're only getting better. Next photo we have is just it speaks for itself. We have the reverse of a person. I can't tell if they're male or female, slightly out of focus, standing in the center of the photo, and in front of them we have a sheet metal wall that has been pried away, and the insinuation is that this person has kind of pushed it down with their face to look past this black wall, this bleakness, into prosperity and into a building that is clearly financially well off, a side of the fence that has the greener grass, I would say. On the top, you have a very undistracting sky, kind of just insinuating that life is more or less the same for everyone under the same sky, but then you have the fence saying, well, no, it's not. Beyond that fence, we have something a little better. And there's that communication of the separation of classes, but then at a baser level, you have the comedy that this person's head has crushed this wall. And I love it. I love it so much. These simple stories and these simple statements that come across in these photos, especially in the street category, are so well done. And they're the type of photos that can engage and entertain people of almost all ages. And that's one of the reasons I really love the category. And finally, we have a photo that I love. I love shit like this. It's so good. You know, when I saw this in the preview thumbnail for this category, I thought it was some sort of bizarre. I thought it was one of those things like on Instagram where photographers will take a photo and then they'll just put another photo in the middle, like digitally, and then it'll be like, look at this photo, but then look at the bigger photo, even though that photo's in the way. I thought that would have been incredibly cheesy and incredibly, I don't know, not good of the Hasselblad company to put that into a finalist. But then I looked closer, and this is a physical photo. This person is actually walking across the street carrying a half-finished painting of what appears to be a very similar style of neighborhood. And it's amazing how the context and the actual intentions of the photo can switch me from going, I don't really like that, to this is an incredible photo. I love this, capturing a moment in history or a moment in this city that probably will never happen again. And it's just weird because the photo looks unfinished. Now, does that provide a commentary of the unfinishedness of the city, or a city in transition as this person walks down the street? He is also, or she is also, in transition. I don't really know the message of this photo, but it's just lovely. It's well composed in the center of the street. You have people walking around minding their own business when this dude or this person is doing something that is kind of extraordinary for someone to catch. And you'll notice a goddamn theme with these ones, a theme of all the photos are coming from eye level, like just accessibility of these photos. These are photos that you can take. These are photos that you can see, that can win awards and be great. And it's just awesome. I love this photo. I love the entries for this year's street photography section. It's great stuff. Next category we have is wedding. Wedding photography terrifies me. It's never a type of photography that I've personally wanted to get into. It seems like a lot of stress, a lot of chasing timelines and perfection, and the day of is very important, obviously, but also you're pre-planning. And, you know, inherently, a lot of photography is stressful and capturing that perfect moment. But wedding photography was never something that I was interested in, and I haven't really followed the category that well. So I don't know the leaders, I don't know what to expect out of this category, but I am excited to view it because this is someone's special day. So let's take a look at what we have for the wedding category. Our winner this year is Matti Messenier from Austria. And what do we have for our wedding category? Wow. I will just say right off the bat, very interpretive, very reserved for something that I would expect in the wedding category. This is really cool. So we're going to go into the first photo, and there's just something like, you know, your wedding is done and like some people important in your life that couldn't make it or whatever, or just interested, they're like, show me your wedding photo, show me your wedding photos. And then you're like, I got the photo for you. This is our wedding photo. And you send them this. You send them a photo of you two and acres of land. And something about that really tickles me. That's really funny. But as a photo, this is striking. This is incredible use of the landscape. This is a photographer who knows the area well, who knows what to expect out of conditions, obviously very pre-planned. And before we get into the meaning of it, because this is chock full of meaning, I just like to say, I think one of the most powerful elements of this photo, apart from the focal point of these very white figures in the middle, apart from the focal point of these very bright figures in the center with their clothing, is just the sheer gradient of the photo, going from gray at the top and then taking its time, going all the way down to the middle before transitioning into that green and that grassy texture. Almost looks like a muddy or swamp that probably wasn't really nice to walk through. But the meaning of this photo, this clearly meant something to the photographer, and I would hope to the people involved. I mean, to me, it's telling a lot about how, you know, the world is massive. The world is big. It's all encompassing, and there's a lot of stuff going around. And instead of this group of people, this relationship, glorifying their existence, saying that they are the best thing in the world, as you typically do on a day like that, they've really chosen to embrace the narrative that they are this one. They might just be this one bright spot. You know, the world goes on, everything moves around you, but they are together, and they are this little one spot of light that can be admired at least for a day. And I think there's something very modest about that, very humble. And I really like the message behind this one. You definitely need to include other photos in a gallery like this for obvious reasons. Something a little closer, I think, something a little more intimate, depending on where the couple is going with their intentions. But as like a cover image, this tells the story of the entire gallery without looking at the gallery. Next, we really get into that intimacy. As you would expect in wedding photos, you get into the relationship between a person and another person. And what's more intimate than those dancing scenes, those scenes that they're together, they're embracing, maybe they're hugging in some sort of environment. And in this photo, the photographer chooses to play on light coming through the veil. And that is a very, very cool idea as a form of physical and practical diffusion to light up the subject, but also create some really atypical vignetting. So you can get this really flowy, really, really dynamic lighting. You can see a little bit of a necklace maybe and the lips, and less of his features, but it more is on the gap between them and how it appears to be shortening. There's movement, there's energy in this photo, and you know, you feel like you're there. It was taken with maybe something a little wider, but like obviously the photographer is really close. Really well done photo. It also almost has like a grain to it as well. I want to say it's a texture that might just be because we're shooting through the other side of the veil, and that has a texture to it. Really rustic looking. It's just a really cool looking photo, and this is the detail that you're looking for in a gallery like this. And then finally, we have a really expressive, almost cinematic photo. You would see this maybe in a Hollywood blockbuster movie, and I really like the intentions behind what they're doing here. On both sides, you have kind of a surrounding of people. They're clearly happy. You even see the one guy smiling. They're clapping. There's so much joy, and in the middle, you completely void of the typical smiles and the typical reactions of the photography couple, and you simply focus on one action. You focus on the action of one human being reaching out and in an attempt to communicate and embrace with another human being in this very special, very important time. Of course, they come together and they touch, and it's a symbol of matrimony and becoming one, as you will. And it really is. You don't need these big balled up eyes and this big tears and you know, some sort of like dynamite romanticism. All you need is one human reaching out to another, embracing, and that's really what it's all about. On the simplest terms, this is wedding photography. This is photography that means something, that's going to mean something to people for a long time, and it's different, but it's not you know, really, it's not crying out to be different. It's not photography that is just different for the sake of catching eyes. It's different because it's so hyper focused on what it's trying to say, and because it's so hyper focused on what it's trying to say, it can say that even louder than some of the other traditional styles of wedding photography, in my opinion. So I really like what they've done here. I think this is an incredible gallery that's going to really do this couple well for a long time. And let's just give a quick shout out to the venue. Like, wherever they are in the world, I think the photographer is from Austria. Wherever they are, potentially in Austria, they found a really cool place to be doing this stuff. It looks very rustic, very character driven. Very cool photos, very cool location. I love it. The second last category we have is wildlife, and this is photos of animals in their environments, in groups, doing actions or interacting with their environment or even the human environment. A lot of the photos for these types of submissions typically focus on, as they should, conservationism, environmentalism, the messaging behind saving our species and our planet, but also just the whimsicalness and the features of animals that people typically don't know of or don't associate with, apart from, you know, features on the Discovery Channel, types of that stuff. The winner this year is Alice Zilberberg from Israel. And if these are from Israel, I'm very interested because I don't typically associate Israel with this category. So could be a nice discovery. What do we have here? These are brutal. And I'm not talking about brutal bad. Like, obviously, these are incredibly well done photos. These are brutal in their realism. They're just so stark. And so I don't know where these were taken. I don't think there are elk in Israel. So I'm going to go ahead and say that they weren't there, or whatever this species is. The three share the same almost type setting where you have this 3/4, or you have this 1/3 or halfway up fade gradient kind of ground that is very stark and very uninviting and very very unsaturated, made of sand or mud or something like that. It's very unflattering for the animal. It shows the starkness and the brutality of the environment. And then you have a center frame animal that does not look happy. And that's how I can explain it, really. You go to this first one, and you have this bison or this buffalo or whatever this animal might be, and well, I'm not an expert on this stuff. It doesn't look particularly well off, just because its hair is tattered and it doesn't really look like it knows where it's going. One weird thing is I don't really see, maybe the footsteps are there. I don't really see a lot of footsteps. Maybe they're just blending into the ground, but it really is like an exhibition of this animal, good or bad. And this one kind of doesn't look that well off. This is what this animal is, and this is, you know, its prospects. Really, it's very honest. It's very brutal. It shares a message of, you know, environmental destruction to me, at least. And we go over to the second one, and we see one that carries forward that message, in my opinion, even stronger. We see what appears to be a polar bear. I'm not 100% sure because it is so monosaturated, unsaturated, and they're typically white. Maybe this one's just really dirty. We see a bear just kind of howling off to the side or reaching off to the side. Again, center composition. I'm very interested because the background doesn't appear incredibly compressed. Usually you get a little more compressed feeling when you get to those 400s, those 800s or 1000 millimeter lenses. This one looks close. Like, this looks, I don't know, 135? I don't know. Like, it looks close, and too close to this animal for me. And it just shares with it a similar, you know, brutality of the environment and brutality of nature, and kind of what we're doing to these animals. It's not pleasant to look at, even though it is a very great compositional photo. Finally, we have one that has a little more dynamic range, a little more brightness to it. We have a slightly more positive looking elk or deer type species, which is standing amongst kind of like a muck or sandy area, an area that I can't assume is native to this animal. Maybe I'm wrong and I don't know the landscape. But yeah, this one is almost perfectly side profile, so you get a real definition of the animal, and it looks a little more well off than the other ones. Not to say it looks happy. This one is again very stark, very, very honest in its depiction of these animals, and again very close. So again, props to these wildlife photographers who put themselves in these situations to where they can get these photos and share them with us. And finally, we have the heritage category. So this is a new category for 2021, and it basically serves to talk about the history of Hasselblad being very associated with NASA, early cameras, space travel, that kind of whimsical stuff. So these are photos that kind of encapsulate the history of Hasselblad and, of course, its heritage. And we're going to look at those winners in its inaugural year, the first year for this category. And the winner of this category is Marcus Möller BITSCH from Denmark. And what we have here are, wow, geez, some really stunning retro, throwback, extraterrestrial-esque photos of space travel, I want to say. These are really, really well done. Yeah, so we have figured in all of them in this series of 3, an old-style, almost 60s interpretation or 50s interpretation of what space travel would look like, and almost a toy-looking rocket. I don't know. Looking at this first photo, I don't know what's a miniature and what's forced perspective. It appears to be using a couple planes of different perspectives. Maybe we have something close like a rock or a mound, and then farther off we have a grassy area. The miniature could be sitting on the rock in a really shallow depth of field, and then we have the man in a little space hat off to the back. So again, being very creative with how they choose to portray these various scales of these props and the person and everything like that. So very well done, I will say. And I love the decision to go for this single palette black and white. It's very good with this throwback. I don't think it would be the same if it had the color, so I think they made the right decision there. The middle one, just reconfirmation that this is in fact a miniature. And how small is this miniature? Well, it's so small that it could be imposed, perhaps imposed onto a little droplet of water. I don't know. Getting creative. This looks like some sort of composition where they've merged a couple different photos together here. I love the drop of water. That's very classic. You know, what do we want to take a macro photo of? We're going to take it of this drop of water. Very cute also. Very, very cute and playful capturing of this scene that they've created. I have no complaints with photo number 2. And then photo number 3, really bringing it home, the aspirations of space travel and man being just as big as the planet we live on. So very cute, poking fun at our intentions as a species, poking fun at kind of what we were working on and what we believe in. I love the amateurish quality of the clay model of what is a planet, potentially the Earth, up for debate, and just how they've set it up with the stars in the background. Just really brings it home. I kind of expect to see like a little flag or something too, is, you know, I want, but oh, it's fine. You know, a little something to smile on, I think, for the heritage category. These aren't the most impressive photos in the world, but they're very well done, and they represent Hasselblad, I suppose, in the way that they want to be perceived. So very good way to end it. So that is the 2021 Hasselblad Masters Award. There were some incredible photos submitted this year, and if you want, you can look back at the Hasselblad archives and see winners from past years. I will have all of the Instagram handles of each of the photographers and their projects listed down below. As usual, I've been Highland Diaz, and I hope you had a good day.